Welcome to Garden Crossings. I'm Heidi. Today I am out in our butterfly house and we are experiencing our third round of monarch butterflies. It's always so exciting. They kind of go through a cycle, and then when all of a sudden they start to emerge and there's so much activity in here, it is so fun. I don't know if you can see the butterflies kind of fluttering around here behind me, but we got our we got our caterpillars in the beginning of May, and our first flush of butterflies was the beginning of June. The next one was, of course, over 4th of July when we're closed and nobody was here to enjoy it. So we came in and we released probably around 1,000 to 1,200 butterflies that second round. And then now we're here, we're experiencing our third round of butterflies. And just last night, we released 550 butterflies. So they're just starting to come out of their chrysalises. So I anticipate we'll probably be releasing around another 1,200 or so with this third cycle. So it's really interesting how they, right now the butterflies are all about, they're laying their eggs and that kind of thing. The caterpillars, the chrysalis stage, it seems to be about a 4-week rotation this year. So we're going again tonight when things start calming down, because they're usually roosting up at the roofs, up at the peaks of the greenhouse, or they're roosting on the plants where they're easy for us to catch and release. Now we do leave a few of them in here because obviously we want to keep the cycle going, but it's been so fun to watch and raise these beautiful monarchs this year. So let's go ahead and take a look at some of the plants that they're really enjoying. Also too, this just breaking news, the black swallowtails have visited our landscape outside, and so we've been able to bring a few of the black swallowtail caterpillars into the butterfly house as well. So I'm hoping in a month or so we'll be able to have not only the monarchs but the black swallowtails hanging out in the butterfly house as well. So that's something we'll kind of keep you posted on the progress of how that's going. But that's really exciting because we love having the monarchs, but I've wanted to expand the butterflies that we were raising in this space. And now I think we have enough caterpillars of the black swallowtails that we'll be able to actually raise black swallowtails as well. So let's go ahead and take a closer look. Right now I'm standing by a pugster blue butterfly bush. Now don't be afraid, this plant is huge and it's because of the environment we're in. So they are in a greenhouse, they're in a very controlled environment, they're getting watered every day and also fertilized every day. So this plant is pugster butterfly bush on steroid, simply because of its growing environment. Out in all of our landscapes, the pugsters are only about 2.5 foot tall. So don't let this scare you, because everything in the butterfly house is just extra big. So, but the butterflies love the butterfly bush. They're using this as, they're going here for their nectar and the pollen. This is not a host plant for butterflies, so don't be confused by planting a lot of butterfly bush that it's going to be a host plant. It's simply a plant that they're enjoying the flowers on and getting the nectar from. Now, if you are looking to attract the butterflies in your garden and have host plants, you're going to want milkweed and lots of it. We have a lot of milkweed planted right here in the ground in the butterfly house, but we've also had to bring in supplemental milkweed just because there has been so many caterpillars and we want to make sure we have enough food for the amount of caterpillars we're raising. So for example, here's a flat we brought in of Asclepias tuberosa. Tuberosa is the orange milkweed that you often find in the ditches or between highways. And you can see they're in the pots here. So as the caterpillars eat all the leaves gone, we'll bring them back into a special greenhouse where we'll flush them back out, get more leaves that we can bring them back in again for the next cycle of caterpillars. I also mentioned that we have black swallowtails, and we are using dill and fennel as the host plant for the black swallowtails. And here we have a few caterpillars that we can show you today. Kind of some various sizes. Got a really big one and then a couple a little bit smaller ones. So they really enjoy the foliage here of this plant. So this is one host plant for black swallowtails. There's about 3 different things that they can use as their host plant, so it's not quite as specific as the monarchs, which need the milkweed for their particular host plant. It also smells quite nice as well. We were trying to decide so this one is fennel, so we're trying to decide what the scent of this is. I don't know, it's kind of a I don't know, I'm gonna say pepperminty, but it's not even that. I don't know. There's just a unique smell to fennel that was kind of nice when we were monkeying around with it last night. We also have a lot of coneflowers and phlox in here as the host plants. This here is a huge aster. Again, typically this aster would only be a couple foot tall in your landscape, but it's going on about 4 foot tall because of the environment it's in. And the monarchs are just really hanging out. If I give it a shake, we'll probably see there's all kinds of them just hanging out in here. They might even be drinking the water off of the foliage. It's a beautiful male. And how you can tell what the sex is of the monarchs is if he opens his wings, you'll see 2 black dots on the lower set of wings. Come on, don't be shy. Oh, there we go. Do you see the black dots toward the bottom near the base of his body? That signifies that he is a male. Females, on the other hand, and we'll see if I can get this one. Females, on the other hand, do not have those black dots on the bottom wings, and that's how you know the difference between the males and the females. Let's see if we can. Hopefully you're able to see in the video the difference. And with them staying on my hand and being side by side, that might even make it just a little bit easier. Now, we do find a lot of chrysalises on various plants. So sometimes the caterpillars will go off and do their chrysalises up on the sides of the greenhouses. Other times their chrysalis are inside of the plants. And we'll find that, and then we'll find butterflies that are kind of drying in here. So as the chrysalis opens and the butterfly emerges, they kind of hang and dry their wings, their body. They pump some fluid that also kind of helps puff up the wings and get them nice and full so that they can take flight. This one here wants to be my friend, so we'll just kind of leave it here on my hand for now. So in the butterfly house, we do a nice mix of annuals, perennials, and shrubs. Obviously the annuals are nice because they bloom, throughout the full season, where your perennials are kind of cycling, as do your shrubs. Now, we mentioned butterfly bush. Butterfly bush is a very long blooming shrub. So that is another reason why we like to have a lot of butterfly bush in here, because it is just simply a very long blooming shrub with flowers that frequently last. Zinnias are a popular plant among butterflies. So we have a lot of little pockets of zinnias in the butterfly house. So the gardeners have recently just come through here today and have trimmed up any of the plants that are looking kind of sad or tired. So that's kind of what you're seeing here in this space, is where they've come through and kind of trimmed things up. You're also noticing these little sachets, or little white kind of tea bag looking things in the butterfly house. And what those are biologicals. So they are good bugs that are going after bad bugs. Obviously we can't use any chemicals or sprays in here, nor would we want to. But we do have to control the population of any like aphids or spider mite or thrip, any of those unwanted type bugs. And we do that by placing these sachets throughout the garden to go after any of those, what we call bad bugs. This is our 3rd year doing it, and we've been quite successful with using this type of application in here, and have had very little issue, especially this year, which has been hot and humid, with the spider mite and thrip. So we know it's working, and this was our test environment to start off the whole biological program. And because it worked so well here in this environment, we've also taken it out into our greenhouses, where we're now using biologicals in the greenhouses as well. So let's go ahead and find him, or find her, a little home. There we go. That way she can be happy there. So as we look at the butterfly bush, it's kind of hard to see, I'm sure, in video, because it's just so much going on, but there are just monarchs all over hanging out in this corner here. And it's so pretty to watch them. It is a partly cloudy day today, as you can kind of tell. And when the sun's not out, the butterflies tend to be a little less active, but as the sun comes out later on in the day, it gets more active, and there's just so much motion and movement going on. I'm going to try to see if we can find a caterpillar, although I had mentioned they are cycling right now. So a lot of the caterpillars that we previously had are now off into chrysalis form. So it is kind of hard to find them at this point in the season. Lantana is another great plant for the monarchs. plant lantana in your garden, you're sure to have some monarchs, as gomphrena would be the same. But like I mentioned, they're all hanging out at the top of the greenhouse right now because the sun's not out. But these would typically be the plants that they would just be all over right now. So here's a kind of a fun fact. This Monarda or bee balm was blooming in April, May. The gardeners gave it a nice trim back, and look at here, it's blooming again now in August. This is the, I think it's razzleberry. We'll put the name on the screen because now it's like, is it or isn't it? But beautiful, bright magenta pink. And bee balm are great for pollinators in general. The bees, the butterflies, the hummingbirds. Really anything that has a tubular shaped flower is a plant that a lot of the pollinators are going to go for and enjoy. So it's nice to see this blooming again. Typically in my garden, I don't really see a nice rebloom. But as I mentioned, because this is a controlled environment and the season just starts earlier in this space and goes longer, we were able to get a secondary bloom out of the bee balm. Here's another one, same thing. We trimmed it back and it's coming back just beautifully. You can see the butterfly bushes are where all the action is at right now. They are just taking it in, and it's so fragrant. Butterfly bushes are an amazing fragrant plant. So here's something, it just flew away. So one thing we do notice in the butterfly house is different size monarch butterflies. So the ones we showed you earlier were a pretty nice size. There are others that tend to be a little bit smaller. So that's nothing that is too concerning. We do find though that later on in the season, the monarchs do tend to get larger. And those larger ones, those are the ones that are going to make their way down to Mexico or Florida or wherever it is that they're going when they're migrating south. The one thing about this time of year is this space does get a little bit tired looking just because it's been going since April. So we do have a lot of things that have been cut back. Look at these stalks. This is because this is milkweed and these are the stalks that remain. So they've eaten all the foliage off and they'll put on more growth, but we got to make sure that we have other things that are more enticing for them while those are putting on their new growth. All right, here's some more milkweed that's been brought in. So I'm hoping this is where I might find a caterpillar to show you what a monarch caterpillar looks like. So typically my first thing is look for holes or look for droppings. That's usually a pretty good sign that there might be a caterpillar on the plant. Of course, at the moment I'm seeing little holes and little droppings, but look what I did find. So here is a chrysalis right here in the plant. So that is what a monarch chrysalis looks like. If you are looking for a chrysalis in your garden, that is something you would be looking for. Here's an example of a butterfly that just emerged from its chrysalis. See how it's kind of wrinkly looking? It's going to sit there and hang for a while until its wings fill out and it's ready to fly. This is what you're looking for if you are looking for a monarch caterpillar on your milkweed. That beautiful black, yellow, and white striped is iconic to the monarch. As we mentioned, we did bring in some of the black swallowtail caterpillars, and we're on a different plant here right now, and you can see, I mean, that's a pretty plump one. Also, here's another one, and I'm anticipating that these are going to be going off to the chrysalis state here shortly. So this I don't know, this excites me. It excites me to be able to add a different species into the butterfly house. So like I mentioned, something to look forward to in our next video when we hopefully will be able to show you that we've got a lot of black swallowtails in addition to the monarchs. See if we can stir up a little bit of action here. Look at that. If you have any questions or comments today on the butterfly house, please leave them below. If you're new to our channel, we welcome you to subscribe. Thanks for watching. I'm Heidi from Garden Crossings.